we?
Pow!
There we are,
There
gentlemen.
you are. Howdy.
Travis,
Doctor.
how goes it?
Oh, wait, there is no doctor.
Wait, there is no
We've
doctor.
got Hunter. He's Dr. Love.
Ladies and
Dr. Love making.
ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my oldest son, Hunter.
Hello.
And Hunter is just a couple months away from being 21.
Ooh.
Yikes.
So we brought him onto the pod
Blackout day.
today for many reasons. First of all, I always like sitting down and talking to him. This is a great opportunity to catch up on some things. But I thought from
Father-son time.
Exactly. From a perspective of what we've been talking about on the podcast with medical tyranny and everything went down post-COVID. Hunter he's a Gen Zer. He's right smack dab kind of in Gen Z.
Did you get to have a graduation? Or was
No,
it
I dropped
it COVID shutdown? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I didn't mean to.
But I don't think I really would have.
Did your class, I guess, did get to have, because that would have been, what,
all the proms,
3 years ago?
like the proms,
Like 21?
The proms were
I
all
would have been
canceled.
23, so it would have been a graduation.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry, Chad.
The proms were all canceled. The
Weird.
homecomings were all canceled. So he was kind of like right smack dab in the middle of that. Plus he broke his arm a couple times.
My niece graduated in 21. She didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
No prom, no graduation,
Yeah.
no anything.
So,
Sad.
as much of a struggle as it's been for many of us adults who've come to expect our government and weird things to go on around us, I thought it would be a prominent podcast to bring him on and kind of go through some of the current events that are going on in our world. If nothing more than even when everything first started going down, Travis, I was very concerned about how it would affect our kids' development for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a 14-year-old as well. He was younger, but he was in a phase where, the kids are learning different things. They're learning friendships and language. They're learning all these different things developmentally. And I knew whenever they started shutting things down that we were going to impact kids in a way that there was no way we knew exactly what it was going to do, but it would be permanent in some ways. And so, Hunter, I'll let him speak for himself, but I feel he's always been very smart about a perspective and what he sees going on around him. As with any parent-child relationship, he hasn't always stated himself in a way when we're talking to each other that was that
I get a little ornery.
you get a little ornery, and he gets that honestly from both of his parents. But you never like looking in the mirror and seeing what you are back, kind of reflected back at you.
Well, now that I see Marshall, I see a lot of myself. Like I see reactions that I've had, and just little behaviors that made a lot of sense in my mind not too long ago. And I mean, I'm still growing. I'm still developing. I'm 20. I still have 3-4 years.
5 years before that frontal lobe is fully developed.
My thinker's not a full thinker yet, but it will be.
You've got like 42 cards in there right now.
Yeah,
in that
almost. I'm missing the box.
Oh, no.
But
What if we get to the end and he's only 51?
hey,
What do we do?
He's
What do
just
you do
missing
then?
like a 2. It's nothing important. It's no big
Hopefully
deal.
it's not an important one.
Yeah.
now
It's a joke.
Anyway.
I just like trains a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
Call you Sheldon.
But a lot of it, with what you said, is just emotions, and especially in a time that we're in right now. It's very hard to find a grasp of yourself and how you should be behaving, especially at his age. I mean, he's 14 in high school, in a world that online, at least from the outside perspective, hates him. Not him specifically, but the idea of us being young men in a school system that's not necessarily catered to how we're supposed to develop in a world that we're the backbone of, but get no recognition of past, I mean, honestly, probably past high school for most cases. And unless you make something of yourself early, or you prove that you're going to make something of yourself in the late stages, it's really hard to navigate these feelings and then look at people with very minute shit. Like, I mean, at that age, you're at the developmental stage of, really who you are becoming, and you're finding the base core of yourself and building that from the world around you. And social media is a really big one to play into that.
I'm so glad we didn't have social media when I was a kid. Oh, I'm so glad.
I mean, that's been the downfall of a lot of things in my life, a lot of other people's lives.
And now we're getting ready to have social media that learns your behaviors and can create things to put in front of you.
I mean, we sort of had MySpace when I was like in high school, maybe Facebook in college, but it wasn't near as prevalent as it is now.
As deep as it is now, I couldn't imagine. I mean, knowing everything that I know, I was alone. I didn't have an older brother to sit and kind of be like, hey, focus your anger here, do this for yourself, do this for yourself. When you're in that stage and start of COVID, everything kind of hit the wall, and the world we knew it was kind of flipped over on itself. And I believe that was the first time, at least people in my age group started really waking up and seeing like the world as it truly was and how we were able to define ourselves in it. And give it to the benefit of the overarching government that we have. They didn't put a lot of regulation on the internet in the early stages. And so when my age group kind of grew up with that, we had years of being able to pass information and show each other stuff and talk and have chat rooms. And I wasn't necessarily a beneficiary of that, but at the late stages, there's still niche groups that you can see posting these things to try to get this trickle down information to people. And it's really interesting because as a young man, I would love to see how any other generation would have taken the amount of information given and the amount of information we have to receive and then take in and process and then act like it's not happening and go and fight through the system and just do all these things to prove worth that don't really prove worth to a true man's like what we're told a true man is, or how a true man's supposed to act.
Are you talking about, what do they call that? Something masculinity.
Toxic
masculinity. Yeah, we're all toxic free and masculine.
Don't forget to give yourself some photo ops there, Travis.
Oh, I was just giving Hunter some love.
And then
all the girls want to see Hunter.
That's right. They don't care about us.
He was primping his hair earlier. So I
had to look bonita.
None of this will be edited, by the way.
No, so it's all going just like this. We don't edit. We let it
it fly.
The information flow. Awesome. You can't stop the signal, Mal.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you've grown up in a window of time. So Travis, I'm a little older than you, obviously. And I remember a time where, phones were still hooked to the wall and there was rotary dials on them.
Oh, dude, me too. Yeah,
but I mean, we had like 3 television channels and my mom didn't let me have any video games. In hindsight, that was a blessing, I think. But I was exposed to, so I only say that because I was exposed to everything over time. So I had basically you're forced outdoors because there really wasn't anything else to do.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Sit inside and watch Days of Our Lives or some soap opera or not?
I had a smoking hot babysitter one time that watched Days of Our Lives, and I sat there happily with her.
So you liked
for that moment in time.
Fair point.
I don't even know what was happening on Days of Our Lives.
But the moral of the story is, I think my generation, just from the concept of being able to see everything over time, I think I'm very lucky in a lot of ways because I've seen pre-internet, pre-phone, pre-whatever, and now in a potential, depending on which way AI and Elon Musk's vision of robots goes, we could be in a utopia or Terminator ending. So so that's where it's from basically nothing to technological overload, and all of that is focused around capturing Hunter's attention.
Zombies.
Yeah, I mean it's all designed to capture your attention, and so a lot of the clips that I hope we get into today are going to be Hunter's looked at some that he actually introed the podcast very well, and I showed him one clip that I wanted to discuss today, but he actually talked about other things that I hadn't shared with him, so he's already insightful enough to know that what we're going to talk about.
He called Miss Cleo. She told him.
So I don't know if I'm going to get these things in order right. But first, thanks for agreeing to do this. Hunter has started flourishing. He's not living at home, unlike the vast majority of kids his age, I think. He's gone out and is making his way in the world.
Wait! I think this is the perfect time. I'm going to go to Hunter. What does that say right behind Hunter's shoulder?
Galactic boots. I just started my own brand. We make T-shirts. So I do Star Wars and like outer space stuff. My buddy Phantom, he does Phantom Kai boots. He does anime and Marvel and all that other kind of stuff. We run a T-shirt store in Manitou Springs, Colorado. That is Cool Garments. You can find that at coolgarments.com.
But that's galactic-boots.com.
Mine is galacticboots.com.
So if you want to support Hunter in his venture,
just check it out.
Check it out.
See for something that
give it a whirl.
And we're doing Black Friday deals and Christmas deals, so...
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to talk about it, but he got right into the promo.
No, I'm laughing.
Tis the season.
No, I'm laughing about Zach, or was it Zach and Miri, or was it 40-Year-Old Virgin? Where it's like, we talked about Black
They're
Friday.
collectibles.
No, we talked about Black Friday.
That might have been...
Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, is this new holiday?
I think that might have been Zach and Miri. I know 40-Year-Old.
I can't.
I don't think it was. That wasn't 40-Year-Old Virgin. I don't think.
Maybe it was Zach and Miri. I'm not going to go through it because I don't think it would pass inspection on our podcast. But he goes over the comedian, the guy makes up some holidays that kind of make racial fun at this one guy who thinks Black Friday is like a racist holiday. And so anyway, it's funny, but I'm not going to go through it. So Chad, back to you.
No,
I'm not going to say it. What
kind of a handoff was that?
No,
I'm going to do something, say something. Never mind. Go back.
No. Well, because I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that. I'll talk about
you did.
A little bit. But anyway, so you do Black Friday sales. I interrupted you. So you're having a Black Friday sale, right?
Yeah, we're going to be doing Black Friday sales and Christmas sales. So
sweet.
Yeah. So please support my son's venture so he can continue going forth and prospering in this crazy world that he and his friends are living in.
They all are limited edition, 50 pieces per run. They are custom designed. Our new T-shirts will be hand drawn. Yeah.
All right. Sounds fun. I'll check it. I'm gonna check it out.
There you go. So to kind of get us on the platform here where we're at, I'm gonna play a clip from Oliver Anthony. He's a bluegrass musician. My son also happens to be a huge bluegrass fan. I didn't pick this clip because he's a bluegrass fan. It just so happens that
love me some bluegrass.
Oliver Anthony is Richmond, north of Richmond, and he's had several other, I think, hits along the way, and he's had a very successful journey. And his messaging is, I think he's speaking to Hunter's generation, about maybe a little younger. I would say Gen Z probably is his main whatever, but he is very much connecting with even old fogies like me as well. And the fact that he's doing it outside of the system and basically flipping the middle finger to the narratives is what I like most about him. I stand up for anybody that stands up to bullies and tyranny. So let's listen to a clip real quick, kind of get us in the mood for where we're going to go or some of the options we can go. We might not agree with everything that Oliver has to say here, but we're going to talk about it.
Just fighting over a gas pump. Line wrapped all the way around the building. And I realized then that as a kid, or as probably a young teenager at that point, that our society is that fragile that we can go 2 days without gasoline and people are willing to fist fight at the pump over it. Imagine if you don't get groceries for a week, or if the power grid goes down for any period of time. And it's hard to have a conversation about that without sounding so conspiratorial or so like, oh, it's the endo days and the lizard people are coming and all that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying the system is already so fragile, and now it's so expensive, and the food is so bad for you, and our public education system is such an embarrassment. It is a predetermined lesson plan on some Chromebook that is sent to whatever teacher, and there's really no teachers truly teaching anymore. It's like everything in our country sucks. And I think we've lost our pride in our country. We've lost our pride in our traditions. People don't grow gardens anymore. They don't raise their own animals. People don't really do anything for themselves anymore. Everything's just a phone call away.
We will.
It's just an Instacart or an Uber ride. Or
I hear a new song like in some of the...
And so it's like, if we want to get away from food being bad for us and being expensive, and if we're tired of paying so much in taxes, and if we're tired of living in this system where public education and college education manipulates our kids and turns them into kids who are confused and angry and bitter. If we feel like social media is controlling us and manipulating us and making billions of dollars off of us, I feel like social media is literally creating a machine to destroy us with the money that we give it by giving it our attention every day. So not only are we weakening our minds and destroying our minds, not only are we giving up our traditions and our values, we're getting disconnected from our kids and our wives, and our marriages are shit, and our families are shit, and our households are shit because we can't stop looking at these stupid phones. And all the money that is made from our personal information that is sold and our attention spans that are given is creating this dystopian AI monster. And now cars are full of technology, and so they watch where you drive. They listen to what you say while you're in the car. They understand where you go, at what time, and it's like all this data is being collected. And I'm not saying that it's being used for some conspiratorial end of the world thing, but no, it's just about control. Just fighting over a gas pump.
All right, that was it.
Yep.
Line.
So that goes actually in hand with what I was saying. It's like, try explaining that to Marshall. He's 14 and trying to make sense of even just the first part, fighting over gas pumps, fighting over something, not making enough money for whatever reason, not being scheduled, or especially at his age, being a young man, you're expected of so much to prove yourself, and you're given no other time to actually find yourself to where you can actually find that niche life and that niche drive to actually go do something better for not only yourself but the people around you. It's been, I can't imagine it's been beat to all hell, especially out of kids his age. Any younger, that's all you hear. And now that we're going out of this COVID and this time to where things were kind of, there was a lot of control and there was a lot of things that were already set in place before then. And I can't go into depth about every single little thing because we'd be here for years, and then I'd walk out and get shot in the back of the head 3 times. And
by one bullet.
Yeah, by one bullet. And it'd be deemed suicide by a heart attack or something, something random. But
no, I will say, so with what you're talking about there a little bit, thankfully Chad hit it a little bit, me as well. I know a time before phones. I know a time before being scared out of my mind because I walked out of the door without a phone on my hip.
But I don't necessarily like being a little kid, but past being a little kid, it was always, technology was always a thing.
Right.
And I'm 20.
Yeah.
So these kids that, you can ask Marshall. He spent a significant amount of time playing Fortnite or on his Xbox or doing whatever. And we kind of went down and had a little talk. I said, look how many hours you put in this game. Mm-hmm. I bet I put half of those hours that I was out running around with the neighbor kids, One of the guys I work with on a daily basis, I grew up next to, I consider him a brother. He's one of my best friends. And, the other guy I work with, Ethan, he's also my best friend. Ethan and Nathan, they're great guys. But it wouldn't have been for getting out and going and meeting people and knowing what I like and just being myself that I wouldn't have found these men that are like-minded and oriented on doing better and building the people around them to be better so we can build an actual thriving society. I would imagine Marshall is scared shitless because it's really probably hard to find somebody like that.
Well, so where he's a little bit more advantaged than you, he's with me every day. I'm taking him to and from school, and it's a very kind of what the discussion we had today at lunch. It's a very open book conversation. He has very good insights. He might be scared, but
he has
I don't defend. I
didn't have an older brother to sit here and be like,
I know.
Don't worry, buddy.
I don't defend our education institutions. I do defend our teachers. Just because what I will say is our teachers are just as confused.
Not all of them deserve to be defended.
Okay, well, that's fair. But all I'm saying is teachers are just as confused as kids with everything that's going on. They don't know how to process it themselves, let alone teach you how to process what's going on around you at such a rapid pace.
I understand.
Especially with Indiana's new public, the public schools in Indiana now have changed how the credits work, how the diplomas work. That's all changed. So freshmen in 26 are going to completely start a whole different way of doing things. And I can't recall. I'd have to do a little more research on what that is. But I mean, it's like so many credits of this, or so many hours of this, so many hours of that. They don't have like core 40, or they're not doing those. That you're getting, everybody gets a general diploma, and then you get like auxiliary stickers on your diploma of the different things that you have done with your chosen slots of
okay, so like, this is pointed, and Hunter, I'm going to turn this right over to you.
But thankfully, our kids are in private school, so it doesn't really affect them.
It's different. They're not. Hunter spent time in both the private and public school scenarios on both sides, and I think he's come to understand why we put him into private. And it's not because it's so much greater in all these different ways, but you have more. The people around you, I think, are more anchored and grounded and able to talk to each other at a guttural level. I think. I mean, a lot of the people that you went to school with are pretty good dudes. I guess here's what I'm trying to frame. I don't understand what Indiana's doing with the curriculum and these different changes they're making, and how that's going to be helpful to the rapid shift and change of what AI
making
and robotics and how jobs are changing and how careers are changing. Travis, I really don't understand how any of that makes any sense, and mostly because our institutions and our educational structure does a really poor job of explaining what they're doing. They don't talk about AI. They don't talk about how it's going to impact our communities. The same as they didn't talk about how social media was impacting our communities. We're basically just we're in an experiment, and we're not learning anything until several years later, when oftentimes it's too late. Like, we can't go back in time and say we need to do this and this with our kids and their phones or the social media platforms and whatever. It was just like, go forth and prosper, and we'll figure out where it lands. Well, that's really dangerous in the world we live in today. Not from the fact that the AI devices are going to be following our kids around and learning their behaviors and doing all the things that Oliver Anthony said, but because our kids, unless they're all being talked to about the risks involved and everything that's going to happen because of what they say and what they're doing, I think kids are even less prepared than they ever have been from a curriculum standpoint, is my point. So if I had it to do over again, I probably would have homeschooled Hunter. But then again, I probably would have killed him because we were.
You would have been Homer. You would have been Bart. You would have been strangled.
Well, I mean, he's much smarter than I am in a lot of ways.
I'm a hard ass.
Probably not common sense wise. He's not quite as he's not as good as I am, because I have a lot of different things going on from a survival standpoint and all the things that I've seen.
That's fair.
But intelligence wise, so he was like, anytime it was my idea to do something, he would just push back straight away. Yeah. It's like, he's just,
that's all kids.
Hey, Hunter, do this, and he'd go like running in the other direction.
That's why you don't teach your kid to do something. You have somebody else teach your kid to do something. Yeah. Like, it's just they listen to somebody that's not their parents.
At the end of it, I'm gonna turn it over to Hunter. But at the end of it, I would tell him, I would start to tell him things that I didn't want him to do, so he would do.
Yeah.
Reverse psychology. So he did the opposite.
I do not want you to mow the lawn.
Do not mow the lawn. That is so dangerous.
You'll cut your toes off. So real quick, Hunter, before you jump, I'm going to tell you. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, the changes for Indiana schools, but you were talking about teachers not knowing what's going on and everything. And I just want to, this is so different from what it used to be. So starting with the class of 29, so that would be the kids actually that started this year. So it would have started with the kids this year, freshmen this year.
That's Marshall.
Not freshmen next year, freshmen this year. Yes, but he's still in a private school, so damn it. I don't want that piece of ice that's now on the floor. So anyway, there are 42. So the class of 29, the diploma will require 42 credits, and then include readiness seals to personalize learning for college employment or enlistment. So this says, little synopsis, the new diploma increases credits for math, STEM, and electives while decreasing them for social studies, PE and health compared to the previous core 40. Key requirements include personal finance, a computer science credit, and a communications-focused English class, along with increased flexibility in electives. So So they're changing a lot of stuff around. And I know I've got some friends who are teachers in high school. And I asked a couple of them and they couldn't quite tell me exactly
what does that mean?
Ins and outs.
I don't know what that means.
So they're trying. I mean, they may now. I talked to them at the beginning of the year.
What was the bit about physical education? What was the point of what?
So what it says is that the new diploma increases credits for math, STEM, and electives while decreasing them for social studies, which I don't know why they would do that, and also decreases them for PE and health. So, versus the previous core 40.
So we're not out of shape enough that they're reducing the amount of physical education.
Well, the social studies is what blew my mind.
That's exactly the opposite of what they should be doing, which just is explains.
But it does allow them to choose their path a little more, which is kind of nice.
Every kid
on paper,
every kid needs to be forced to do physical education, whether they want to or not.
So there is PE. So okay, let me go a little deeper, just real quick. There's a little more. So this says total credits require 42 versus the 40 in the core 40. Flexible and pathways. It says a core diploma is followed by the opportunity to earn a readiness seal for specific post-grad goals, such as enrollment, employment, or enlistment. Personalized electives. Those are credits for. Credits for personalized electives doubled to 12, providing students more flexibility to align with their future plans. So as far as specific course requirements, 8 English credits, 7 math credits, 7 science credits, 5 social studies credits, and there still are 2 PE credits, 1 for physical education and 1 for a health and wellness class. So they still do have it. I guess maybe, I can't recall. It's unfortunately been so long ago. I cannot recall if I was only required 1 credit of each, or if I feel like I had PE like more than 1 year in high school, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I don't know.
So that was a lot of words for just saying there needs to be PE.
Those are the changes.
There needs to be PE every single day of every single year that a kid is in school.
Oh, you think it should go that deep?
We have our behavior is we sit behind desks and we do really nothing but listen, talk, type, watch. It's the opposite behavior of where we need to be going. I'm okay with doing more of these different things, but why can't we take a class where we all go out and walk around everybody get a headset or something, and like we're going to talk about
a guided tour or something.
We're going to get out and move around, get in the sunshine, do things on a daily basis that's habit forming. I mean, like I said, when I was a youngin' in school, we had it was strenuous gym. Every day there was and we went outside twice a day, and we got in this thing where we thought we need to do less outside stuff because that's just physical exercise. That's one of the most important things that you need to carry with you every single day. Mm-hmm. And so the point is we can also multitask.
Well, but there are also extracurriculars out there to help with that kind of stuff. I remember I all through school, whether it be because I played a bunch of different sports, did a bunch of different things.
You probably had outdoor activities. You probably had recess at least a day.
Not in high school.
Oh, see, we left school for we had off campus eating and we were running.
So I did have.
There's only one school in town that does that.
Yeah, private. That's
SIG.
Yeah, SIG.
So we had an open campus for lunch. Although I think that's gone now. I think only seniors in my high school can leave for that. But I was talking more about after school was let out. Whether it be fall where that was more like basketball, football season, or if it was spring, I think that was more tennis season, maybe golf season. Played baseball. I was constantly out, but it wasn't during school. It was during those extracurriculars after school. I don't know if there's enough time. I don't know that kids get a good enough education as it is, and if you take away more study time. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know what's best. That's why I'm not part of a school system.
I don't think sitting kids in a classroom for 6-7 hours a day is the education that they need.
I think like an outdoor auditorium or something, like an outdoor space to take some classes might be worthwhile.
Get them in the sunshine, or moving them around. You can move and talk at the same time. Part of the thing that Oliver Anthony said, which I do agree with, and again, this has nothing to do with the teachers who have really good intent. What I'm saying is, teachers are told this is what you have to teach, and they're teaching for them to pass this test.
These standardized
tests.
So the school gets more money.
Rather than teaching kids real life, real world, real experiential things, like why aren't our students talking about AI and how that's going to change the world and having those, that's social studies. I guess is how what that would fall under.
Because that doesn't create a working class.
Or technology. Well, I mean, so that you're reaching the underlying theme of where we're going here. But it's frustrating because it's, again, we're not in a window of time that we can be 2 or 3 years behind what our kids need. Like our kids, your kid, as young as your kid is right now, her world is going to be completely way different than where we are right now. So things need to be changing for her and adapting. And I just thinking like moving a core class here or there around is just not the type of change that we need.
That's true. If you want to, for the masses, I agree with you. Thankfully, my kid is inquisitive enough. Because I work from home most of the time, she'll roll in there like a couple of days. She comes home early, like she comes right after school instead of going.
Well, you're different. I'm just using you.
No, I know, but she does. She actually asks me, and I think a lot of kids are very inquisitive, but I think a lot of parents get. What would be the word? Not really fed up, but like they just act like they don't have time. Like your kid, like so she'll roll into my office and she'll say, hey Dad, what are you doing there? And she'll see maybe some Python or something that I'm doing some coding of some sort, or maybe I'm just working through some Excel formulas or something. She's like, what does that do? And I was like, well, see here, when I do this, it'll make this number this, or it'll do this, and I kind of show her a little bit. I don't get like into the weeds, of course, but I mean, I think if people took more time with. I don't want to say that. That's going to sound... Well, if people took more time with their kids to just explain the world, even as it's just happening, I think that would help a lot. And I think a lot of parents don't do that.
Stop passing it off onto the teachers who are already not paid enough.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So we have an open communication with our child's teacher. And we're like, tell us anything, tell us everything. We do... And I understand that a lot of parents... maybe don't even have the ability... not that they don't have the ability, but maybe their time does not allow them to take the time to work with their kids, or maybe they work a swing shift or a second shift and they only get to see their kids for a couple hours every day or something. They don't want to use that time to try to educate them. So I don't know.
Did I tell you, I don't know if I told you this. I think I did tell you this today, Hunter, during our lunch or on our way to and from lunch. Marshall came to me, and again, we have these, he's a kid of few words. Like you'll ask him a big long question, he'll be like, "Yeah."
So he's more of a crock pot than a microwave.
But he's catching it all.
Simmer it in there.
He's catching it all. He just doesn't really say anything until he does.
Right.
And so we're having these series of conversations, and we got into the car, and he's like, "Dad, do you think we're all just slaves?"
Yes.
And
yes, child.
And I've never. I mean, obviously, I'm
sorry.
I listen to a lot of different things and whatever. And how do you answer that? I mean, you can't put a positive spin on it, and I'm not trying to be, Debbie Downer. But I guess I'm trying to get at with him and Hunter's ahead of the curve, is things aren't what I thought they were. We were taught this is society, this is our role, this is what you should do, these are how things operate.
Be a productive member of society.
We need you to do these things. Go to school, get a good education, get a good job, pay your taxes. Yada yada yada, and all the while,
right now the goal is
the central planners are doing all these other things. What
as a young man right now, the goal for probably most men is go to the gym. You probably find yourself in there, find financial freedom, and then you'll find yourself along the way. Most men that I've met nowadays are more focused on a way to just absolutely crush it in the best way they possibly can.
But the sad part is there's not many ways to crush it.
Exactly.
Most of those people, I bet
not many
90% of the people,
it.
90% of the people you're talking about will never find it.
Right.
And that's the way that the population is now. Like
and it's sad.
I would love to make more money than I do, but I make what I do, and I alter my economics and my household around that pretty much. I mean, I would love to knock it out of the park and come up with the next, $1 million pet rock idea or whatever it might be. But most of society, I mean, I have no idea what the real percentages are, but I bet 95% of society don't necessarily knock it out of the park.
Right.
And
but
they just kind of
it doesn't even
live
necessarily need to be like if you don't go through life and make a bunch of just big mistakes and like I've deliberately walked through life making choices to make sure that I'm not fucking myself over, just to be frank.
We just went rated R, guys. That was our one PG-13.
I'm gonna have to put no kids allowed on this.
One more and it goes to R. It's still PG-13.
This message is for kids to learn, and that's not the word that we're shooting for today.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that is my apologies.
That is my word.
Don't let it lose your train of thought. Just
sorry.
curb the F-bomb next time.
I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, here, so
knocking it out of the park, trying to get guys trying to go through life, knocking it out of the park was where you were going with that.
I wasn't even necessarily meaning monetarily, you know.
Oh, sorry.
In the best way possible, in any way possible, anywhere there's a possibility to just better themselves and shoot for a better goal than last time. It doesn't matter what it is. I've seen young men on all sides of the parties and all sides of thinking and from all walks of life all kind of focus around this goal of, well, we deserve better. Why are we upholding this bullshit? Mm-hmm. You know? And
so I can get mushy for a second. So I'm gonna get mushy. So I'm gonna switch things. So I'm in between you guys. So I'm not quite Chad's age, but I'm of course quite a bit older than you.
Of course.
I wanted to knock it out of the park as I was a younger male or whatever, and financially or just success in general. Maybe I really wanted to. I was in a band. We were really trying to make it. Original band, wanted to tour the country, wanted to make the millions, wanted to, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever it might be, you know. And that didn't happen, and of course it didn't happen. That's that's about as likely as being drafted into a professional sport or something.
Struck by lightning.
Yeah. So hit a Bitcoin on your lottery miner.
There you go.
But as it's mining down there on the floor.
It's over here.
But then you start to change. So I met somebody, fell in love. Well, I fell in love a few times, but finally, was able to catch the one that was right for me and didn't go off banging other dudes.
In today's world, that is success. Like,
well, I'm going. Give me like 2 more minutes to button this up, and then yes,
you come back to
what
you want. Yeah.
So when I was getting mushy about that so I met that, but I still was kind of wanting to hit. Like I unfortunately moved her down to Georgia because we were trying to follow the money. I was managing a region for a retail chain, and and she was unhappy, and it just didn't. That wasn't the way we were going to do it. So we came back, got married, had a kid, and that's where the change happened. And that's where more and more as time passes, because even when you get to that point, you kind of think back, you're like, man, I really wish my band had made it. I really wish this, I really wish that. But as time goes on, I'm far enough along. My daughter's 7. My wife and I talk about we'd love a new house, but we couldn't afford one right now because of the rates and the prices or whatever. Yeah. But you become thankful. Like, I live my life pretty much for my daughter and my wife now, and I'm okay with that. Like, at one point I wasn't necessarily. No. I might be like, I want to get out of the house. I want to get in another band. I want to try to this. I want to try to that. Well, then you won't have time with your daughter. Well, I don't, whatever. And I never did. But as time goes on, now I cherish every moment I have with my kid and my wife. And if if the house only makes a total of like $150,000 a year, and we live in our little 3-bed, 2-bath house for the rest of our lives, I still feel like I've knocked it out of the park now. But 10 years ago, me would not have thought that this life was necessarily knocking out of the park. So I think it changes as time goes on, as where I was going, and I was getting a little mushy. But anyway.
No, of course. That's basically what I mean. I mean, in today's world, finding a woman that you can agree with and that will push you to be the best version of you that you could possibly be, it's extremely hard. And to be the best version of yourself in today's world, that's a different story. And then you have to have the financial success from a lot of stages. And
I mean, unfortunately, people actually say that money can't buy happiness. It really can. It's to an extent, but like, have you ever seen somebody frowning on a jet ski? I mean, no.
I mean, well, you can cry in a Lambo and then start and go.
So we're getting off topic.
No. You're right on topic. And here's where I'm going to just say, we are surrounded by mixed messaging. We're surrounded with. I forgot who it was. It might have been Oliver Anthony talking about people are confused. They're afraid. Our kids don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And we're looking to these rapid changes that are going on all around us, including, with AI and robotics. And I'm just I had planned this clip for last, and that just shows you, like, you plan for something and then the conversation goes a certain way. I want to listen to this. This is Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk on it. The last time he was on it, it's only been, I think, a couple months ago. And he's talking about the changes of AI, Tesla, and his robots that are called Optimus. And here's what he's saying, and I'm going to put this out there only because we're saying all these things of what has driven it. What similar? Your story is similar to mine. things were driving me. I wanted to go do this. I had money goals. I had those, and everything changed the moment that he was born. Like your whole world resets, and you're like, who the hell was I? I was so selfish, and now everything is about making sure that, first of all, he doesn't die. Second of all, I don't kill him, but third of all, you know, food, shelter, love, time, all that stuff kicks in. So I'm going to overlap. This is a 2-minute clip because it's such a rapid deployment of change in our society, and we're looking at New York City and Mandami socialists, and I've always cussed socialists, and now we hear stuff like this from one of the smartest, richest guys in the world, and it's just confusing even to me. So let's give it a listen, and then I want to rant on it. All of us rant on it.
Like cars are going to be autonomous, but there's just so many desk jobs where really what people are doing is they're processing email, or they're answering the phone, and just anything that isn't moving atoms, like anything that is not physically, like doing physical work, that will obviously be the first thing. Those jobs will be and are being eliminated by AI at a very rapid pace. And ultimately, working will be optional because you'll have robots plus AI, and we'll have, in a benign scenario, universal high income, not just universal basic income, universal high income, meaning anyone can have any products or services that they want.
So
but there will be a lot of trauma and disruption along the way.
So you anticipate a basic income from that the economy will boost to such an extent that a high income would be available to almost everybody. So we'd essentially eliminate poverty. In the benign scenario, yes. So, like, there's multiple scenarios.
There are multiple scenarios. There's a lot of ways this movie can end. Like, the reason I'm so concerned about AI safety is that, like, one of the possibilities is the Terminator scenario. It's not 0%. So that's why it's like I'm like really banging the drum on AI needs to be maximally truth seeking. Like, don't force AI to believe a lie, like that. For example, the founding fathers were actually a group of diverse women, or that misgendering is worse than nuclear war. Because if that's the case, and then you get the robots and the AI becomes omnipotent, it can enforce that outcome. And then like unless you're a diverse woman, you're out of the picture. So we're toast.
So this clip throws a monkey wrench into everything that we're talking about, but I did that on purpose because me and Travis are sitting here telling you what drove us, what we were trained and told to go after, how we were told, go to school, get good grades, get smarter, get a good job, work to get this thing at the end. And then you've got people like this with a real world scenario of robots taking over a large percentage of the things we do, including the doctor who sits across from us most of the time. Another clip that I have is talking about, he thinks most doctors will be out of business. The moral of the story is, though, the in-between time of where we are and the curriculum that we're talking about, your daughter's learning and my 14-year-old's learning and pondering whether going to college is the right thing. I'm not hearing these questions being addressed in a way that makes me feel comfortable that sending him out to some school somewhere is going to bring him back to us or wherever he goes in the world in a better position than when he left this house.
Improving.
If I can put that statement in front of him and let him chew on that for a minute, like, what does that mean? How does that redirect your life? Even Hunter's sitting here, and I want him to work hard. I mean, I want him to go out and struggle. I want him to fight for the things that he wants to fight for and feel the pain of not having it. Feeling the pain is a big part of being alive. Mm-hmm. If you don't feel pain along the way, working out like you're working out, you're really just kind of living a numb existence.
Well, that's where you get a lot of, oh man, what's the word? What's the word when like a super rich dude does a crime, but he didn't know any better because he grew up. There's a lot of people that use that as a defense. Oh, there was a kid who, I don't know, drunk driving, killed some people or something, and he got off because he didn't know any better because he grew up wealthy. And there's a name for that of like. Anyway, the point I was getting at is that even the pain portion of that is when you get people who don't have to go through any of that kind of pain, who are maybe
entitled
kids of wealthy, and they're entitled kids. Man, I really want to know that word that I'm thinking.
Just go on with the story.
Anyway,
it'll come.
All I'm getting at is that even they seek out, they'll go shoplifting, or they'll get into drugs, or they'll do things just because they also need to feel alive. And if they don't have necessarily the growing pains of normal life, they'll look for another thing. So I was just kind of agreeing with you. But even when you don't have our normal pains, like you were talking about, like the struggles or whatever it might be, even those people that don't, they find ways to feel that pain, I guess. I don't know how to say it.
I want you to address this, Hunter, but what I'm getting at is we're never allowed, nor are we told to focus on the right. You're more than welcome to open that up and drink it and whatever. Cool. Just don't worry about that noise. We're never quite told to focus on the right things and to ask the right questions and to demand the answers to the right questions. We're distracted. We're go do this, focus on this, go do this because you have to. Meanwhile, it seems like all the systems and institutions are working against us. And then how do you throw this down in the lap of your generation who, your mom and I have struggled to get the things that we want. We made you purposefully struggle along the way because what he was talking about, the entitlement complex basically
affluenza, by the way. I looked it up. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. But I mean, the moral of the story is most people that have money dropped in front of them end up in much worse conditions later in life. The drug...
Look like child movie stars or something.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't end well because everything is easy and everything is whatever, and you end up drugged out and dead. I mean, at the end of the day. So... say whatever you want to say, but I mean, at the end of the day, if Optimus, the robot, Tesla robots take over a lot of the manufacturing and we're changing at a rapid pace, I mean, these are the conversations that we need to be having, and it's with kids like you, but between you and Marshall's age, Marshall's not even close to out of high school yet.
I guess it's just confusing in a world that values either hard work or knowledge, and both of which are made essentially useless.
I think knowledge is important.
Other than like
wisdom is important, maybe not knowledge.
Yeah, other than like the actual like full collection of data and like, hey, you should lay this wall this way and the math says this or whatever, for like physical applications of things. Like you said, the things that actually are moving atoms are going to be a bigger problem for that. So I'm not necessarily as worried for that. I think it's more of actually a problem for the white collar. And, in a world where the blue collar has been kind of kicked to the side, and
trades, especially trades,
who are going to benefit the most off of it, while white collar is going to be the ones like, oh, we've done nothing our entire lives. And not in terms of like nothing, but like
nothing that you can use moving forward, really.
Nothing that the human race is ever going to look and marvel at. Like, oh, he found this on his computer sitting and typing.
So that's why I volunteered to head up my company's AI division. So that's why I'm in AI development, is because I could already see the writing on the wall where, if I just sit here and manipulate Excel spreadsheets, download data from websites, from a client's, asset manager or custodian, or for their custodial accounts or whatever it might be, I know that AI can do all of those things, and our AI that we're developing does those things. It creates what are called digital workers, and anything that can be done on a computer, these things can be designed to do. So if it's to download data every day from wherever, or read certain emails, digest those emails, send them back out to other people, or upload things to this website or that program or whatever it might be, our system will do that, and it will do it pretty error-free. And we're still ironing it out. That's why it's not on mass retail right now.
You're in a window. You're in a window of it's not perfect, but it will be perfect.
But it will be.
Right.
And I wanted to be the person that
help do that.
Actually, the
Put yourself out of a job.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to put my. So if I control the AI to an extent,
I'm burning this bitch down.
Then no. But then I don't have to worry about it
fire
taking over my job because
I have a backdoor wall. A backdoor trap.
Don't tell my company.
Nah, they don't. Nobody listens.
Just shit. Nobody. I don't know. But anyway, so yes, I mean, as you were saying, kind of that white collar, somebody who just sits behind a computer or uses phone, either calls contacts or most everything I think is done via web-based systems. I don't think there's a whole lot of phone calling even anymore.
I mean, relatively no.
Yeah.
The whole thing is it's kind of making this whole it's making the system collapse on itself in a funny way, especially from our perspective. By our perspective, my generation and Marshall's generation, because
Gen Z.
We're the strongest, we're the youngest. I would argue we're not the smartest in terms of whatever, but we've been given the most information.
You're not the wisest.
We're not the wisest,
Yeah.
but we've been given the most information in the shortest amount of time, and we've grown with that instead of not saying the other generations didn't create these things and put them outside.
Well, the answers are at your fingertips. That took me and Travis going to the library to get an encyclopedia to look at an answer.
As a collective whole, it's progressed in a larger stage, and while I am glad that I was kind of on the earlier to mid stage of it, I think Marshall's going to end out the best in this because he's going to be given the actual opportunity to look at things as a whole as they're starting and being like, okay, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I can make a lot of money here and go do whatever I want here.
Or have a massively high universal income.
Right. I mean,
so
it sounds
a lot of people are going to sit around and wait for that. Is one of my concerns.
It sounds good on
you know
paper,
what I mean?
But it's
like I don't have to do anything because Elon's going to deliver.
Well, the same one wheezing the juice off of the government's collective are going to be those same people.
Us as humans, we weren't necessarily. We're imperfect human. We're imperfect, and that's.
So I think
the problem with communism, socialism, which it's a really socialist view, if you kind of deduce it, it's painting a very perfect picture on an imperfect canvas, and it's never worked, and it's never been able to be held up without a capitalist society that has actively been on the grinding side of it, because it's a yin and yang, but we're just not. I love people, and I love all my friends, and I try to love everybody on this earth as much as I can, but at some point in time there does have to be some come back to reason. Like, yes, it'd be awesome, I would love that, but like there's always going to have to be the people that are scraping gum off the bottom of benches for
until Optimus does.
That's Optimus will hopefully be able to do that.
But
so
those are the jobs nobody really needs.
Who's going to keep Optimus running when the machine goes?
Well, that's one of. I mean,
at that point in time, like he said, the Terminator thing happens, or there's a possibility. There's a possibility.
Yeah.
But how could that
0%.
not be weaponized in any way? And I mean, I guess that is where humans are going, but is it going to be that fast? And is everything that they're trying to force down our throats for surprising or seemingly no reason going to be just moot?
Yeah. Well, what is fast? Because like I'm 50 something now, and I'll tell you right now, every year that goes by, and you're already learning this probably at almost 21, every year gets faster.
Yeah.
And every day gets faster. And so not too long ago, we didn't have cell phones. Not too long ago, this is not just a cell phone. It is a supercomputer that's more advanced than the supercomputer that took us to the moon.
I'm guessing
we didn't go to the moon.
I'm saying the point that my generation seems to be at is, why are we doing all this shit now, and why are we putting up with it? So why are we upholding these things that don't benefit us in any way? That's actually it's worsening us and or killing us on a lot of different stages.
So this is the crux of the conversation that needs to be had. This is the thing that nobody really talks about. That's uncomfortable, anxiety-inducing, fear-inducing. It's the thing that I worry most about for you and Marshall. And you're somehow caught in the middle. And I'm gonna share some clips here in a minute. based on the fact that you, as a young white male, specifically have been feminized in a lot of ways and trained to
asocial, asexual.
I mean, that's where we're going in the next few clips here. But like, these are all the things that I've stopped sending you a lot of stuff because I know you're trying to do your own thing, but having these conversations with you, these ideas are still important, not because I want you to think like I think, but I want you to see what I see and then take what you take from what I'm thinking and seeing and using it in the world. Same thing with Marshall. Like, I can't tell you how to think about it. I can't tell you what to do with it because you two are the ones that are actually going to be immersed deeply in the middle of it for the most of your life. Travis, did you have something to add to that?
Well, yeah, so it's funny you say that because I was getting ready to bring this up even before you started going that direction. But when we first started talking, Hunter was kind of speaking about, men and masculinity and kind of where that's going and things. I'm sure you guys have heard it, but I think I've just got to say it again real quick because we're in this conversation now. But the saying of hard times create strong men, strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. I think we are kind of in that weak man, not anybody's specific. Like, it's not your fault, Hunter, or it's not Marshall's fault, but I think the world is kind of attacking masculinity and men in general to an extent. I mean, everybody's attacked right now. I mean,
yes.
it's really a crappy time right now.
It's a big
but I mean,
game of divisiveness. But
it really is, but I think we are at that point where the men have become weak because of external environmental issues and situations to where we do have some bad times ahead, I think, that are going to be harder. Kind of like Elon said, there's going to be some turbulence. There's going to be some really bad things that probably happen. And then I think eventually we'll come back around on top to, being strong men. And I know that saying really, I think more, it's not necessarily men, it's people in general. Like if you kind of look into that a little bit, it's more like strong people, weak people. Like it's all humans. It's not necessarily men in general, but I think we are at kind of a weaker time where everybody's being allowed to take a piss in a cat box at high school or whatever it might be. Like all these things, that's not... Like the idea that everybody can just express themselves however they want is not, you can't do that in a functional society. You just can't.
No.
And you can have free will, but there are some societal boundaries.
Not freedom from consequences.
Well, that's true. So when people do stupid things and then they get fired and they're like, well, freedom of speech. And no, that has nothing to do with, one does not have anything to do with the other.
Exactly.
But, I think we're getting to that point where it's going to be a tougher time just because of what has been created by trying to allow everybody to do whatever they want to make themselves feel the way they, whatever it is, feel special. And I'm not trying to step on, and I might get some tranny furry cat person or something that wants to now, shoot me in the head 3 times. But I just don't think that all of these things are really, I think there are more mental issues than just trying to make everybody happy. I don't think a society can't function in a way of just making everybody happy. I'm sorry.
Not everybody's going to be happy. And I mean...
And we're trying to cater to everybody being happy, and that's going to break everything down.
Yeah, I have friends from, as I said, all walks of life. I have a friend who claims to be a hardcore communist, and I debate him on that any chance I get. And we debate every little thing in the media. He'll send me little things and be like, gotcha, and I'll get him back with another thing. Be like, I got you back, man.
Is he better off than you? Tell him that he needs to give you half his shit too, and then see how he likes.
Is this one of your wealthy friends?
It's true.
No, you don't need to. Okay, you don't need to say. I mean,
yeah,
but there's wealth there. Maybe not.
I don't know with himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in college, so I'd assume it's one or the other. He has worked really hard for himself. So
he's a good kid.
I don't mean to discredit him in any way, shape, or form. I love that man to death. But
that's how any communist. That's how I refute them. I say, oh yeah, I really like that watch you have on. I don't have one. Give me your watch.
Where you at? Better dead than red, brother. Jesus. No, I'm kidding. I love you, True.
Yeah. So I think this is the clip that I'm getting ready to share here that I shared. The only thing that I pre-stacked in front of Hunter before he came was to listen to this thing because there's Nick Fuentes is a name that's coming up a lot in circles, and he's a very influential a young man. He's a kid to me, but he's a young man. And he does have some very far right views and a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree on, and several things I don't agree on at all, for different reasons than what people might think. But he definitely has a following, and he has people that are as confused and concerned as what we're talking about right now, and they're listening to him because he's the only one that's talking about the things that these kids are thinking about. So this is a really long clip. I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna break it up. We might not listen to the whole thing. This whole thing is like 9 minutes long. So I'm gonna listen to a little bit of it. Wherever I feel I can get a natural break, I'm gonna stop it. I want to have a little talk about it. And just for Travis, for future record, this is where I was talking about, like, if we have this playing somewhere and like we're all paying attention and watching the video, like we can, people can see how we're agreeing or not agreeing or nodding or not nodding, and it can give some signals along the way.
Yeah.
So we can do that moving forward on, in the next pod. But let's listen to this.
I already created it. We're going to do it.
really good clip, and he is he I believe is a very independent thinking. He tries not to be contradictory. He tries to call out things on both sides, and he's calling out things that are very much true. And it's not a woman's fault. It's not a male's fault. It's not a white man's fault. These are all things that are factual. And our kids are not being taught the lessons of World War I. Hunter just so happens to be a World War II fanatic. He could tell you whatever you want to know about World War II, including every gun that's ever, was
Nerds.
But anyway, the moral of that is, the moral of the story for me at this point, and I want you guys to, whatever, he tells a good story up to this point of where we are. The male, we've been feminized.
Or blamed
for the problems, even though you and I didn't create any of them.
Right.
Somebody that we might have been related to
The patriarchy.
two generations ago did something wrong. The problem with going the opposite direction all the way to the other side is where we are right now. We went from maybe being too patriarchal and trusting old white men too much because our government has lied to us a lot.
Yeah.
Hoorah, we can all agree to that, right? But the answer is not the polar opposite of that.
Nope.
And so that's where we are.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of writing over there. What you got, buddy?
Is that related to what this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as
Keep
a young man,
keep the mic closer to you.
Nick Fuentes is really he does hit probably the For You pages of most young men. At least on.
Is that whole Nazi thing real? Like, is that really? Did he really?
I mean, he's pretty far out there.
Okay.
He says a lot.
I honestly don't know him.
So. There's a lot of things that I can say that I can agreeably say I do not agree with the things that he says. And I'm gonna go off and just start from the base narrative. Is like, yes, he hits a lot of really good points when it comes to being a young white man in a world that tells you that you're no matter what you do you're wrong, or it's your fault and you're supposed to do everything about it. And
Screen.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
There's no bugs out.
All right.
And
If there is, we'll kill them. Sorry, Mark. Hunter, keep going.
He captivizes the minds of the left out white men and women who feel like they're deserving of the same benefits or love or care or attention, or hey, my issues are issues too.
You can't say that if you're white.
Yeah, he really does captivate, especially the young ones who just want to have to say something like, hey, this is actually a problem, and he uses real stats and he uses real problems, and I can't go out and say that he's saying things that are incorrect, because
That's where I like Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk, man.
Yes,
Anyway,
he is.
sorry.
He's probably more radicalized.
Oh yeah, he totally is. But I'm just saying this is where I like Charlie Kirk. Is
He's more not as out there on some of the issues.
I already missed Charlie.
Yeah.
He really does acknowledge real issues and stats. And some of those things are seen as racist, and there are talking points that he brings really good talking points to the table. That, I mean, if we're going from the basis of having a true democracy and actually building a nation from the ground up again, it's going to be necessary to have the talking points of somebody from that side of the table. As unagreeable as a lot of those things are,
he still needs to be heard.
It's still a valid point to be heard, and the fact that people agree with him. I mean,
if he's got 10 million followers,
it should either say, hey, what we're cultivating is creating a massive problem. And I'm not saying he's the way out. Obviously, he really does spark hate, and it's blanket hate. It's not just hate. Hate and division, not necessarily hate.
Yeah,
he's spoken out against racism, but it really does create division. And I mean, if we're looking at it from the terms of what he speaks out against, he really does kind of speak out against the left and or the right, but. He's equally a pawn in the system of getting all these people riled up and focused on all these things, and out of the inner community and still in their phone and blah 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 blah. You know, and it could all be a marketing tactic. But
Well, that's what I mean. The only thing I'm going to say, and I'll let you keep going. I listened to the Tucker Carlson interview that he did, and he was not nearly.
He's well-spoken.
He wasn't nearly. Oh, he's brilliant. He's a very smart guy. No one is ever going to say
Well-spoken.
he is very smart. But the point that I want to make on it is he didn't say any of that inflammatory stuff during that podcast with Tucker.
He probably knew better.
Tucker, what Constantine said is that he was a softball interview. Like, he didn't call him out on some of the things that he felt like he should have been called out on. Mm-hmm. And Tucker's response to that type of criticism was like, "Screw you, go do your own interview. Don't throw in softballs. Go all in hard, however you want to go." These are the questions that I had for him. The moral of the story is, though, my guess is maybe he does and says some of these things just for the clickbait and just to get the followers, and then he dials it back. That doesn't mean he doesn't necessarily agree with everything he's thinking, but maybe he says stuff just to lure those people in, and then he neutralizes it. I don't.
Yeah, I as a human, I'd like to believe that's the base of where he's
Maybe
coming
not.
from, and I don't know the man. I don't know how he thinks.
That'd be a good question Tucker should ask.
It would be, because I mean, there obviously has to be some sort of acknowledgement of, I am creating a stir, but is it the correct stir to be making? Especially in the world that we're in, it's not divisiveness that should be pushed for. And
Well, we need to be divided on some topics.
yes, and that's okay.
Bad ideas.
and that's okay. But having the blanket, oh, it's these guys' problem,
Right.
pointed at these guys, or it's this stat, look at them, and not looking at actually breaking it down for like what it is, and looking at what's causing these issues in this certain genre of people or certain genre of problems. It's just a blanket term to keep people pointing at each other instead of pointing at the government that's upholding.
Well, and the
it
problem
all.
us three white guys have sitting here at the table, the two tables, are his rhetoric and the things that he says gets thrown into our group simply because of the color of our skin, not because of our ideas. And so he pulls everybody to the right, to the extreme right, and it casts, like, it just gives fuel to people saying, well, you've just platformed Nick Fuentes because you had a conversation about him.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, we're debating the things that he's saying and questioning his integrity while acknowledging he is also intelligent and he's brought all these different people into a movement. The question is, how do you neutralize the movement to where it's less extreme and assimilate people back into
It's like, hey,
normalcy?
your anger is allowed to go to these places, but let's not.
We have to unite around uniting principles.
Yes, let's not divide
And not further divide and exclude these people just because they listen to Nick Fuentes.
right. And I mean, there's no real way to put it other than like it takes both sides of both people coming from this radical viewpoint of, oh, I need to be right in everything, and actually just communicating like, hey, swap ideas. Like, I'm not friends with a communist for no reason. Like, we could sit here and fuck off and talk about.
We're rated R now.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. I'm just mucking with you.
He can't. He's got to say communist and the F word together.
Absolutely, yeah.
We can sit here and mess around and talk about absolutely nothing all day. But at the end of the day, like, I don't break people down for their political beliefs. I don't care where you're coming from as long as it's coming from a place of actually understanding why you think this way. And I think the more people actually come out and talk and have these conversations like, oh, I believe this, and that's fine. You need to be willing to change that belief as well as, and that's not just saying like, all these people are wrong because they believe this happened instead of this, or, you know, wrapping in a gender ideology or whatever. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. I have met very astute young men and women who are wanting to change this world and are wanting to have that ability to move forward, but it's all this divisiveness that is causing the question of whether it's really even worth putting in the time and effort when you're going to be poo-pooed on for it anyways, you know?
Well, my struggle, my call to action to you is, it is worth it. In a world that's becoming more and more isolated with AI and with social media and the phone attached to you, you're going to have a personal assistant. on your phone who's your best friend, who will tell you everything you want to hear, that you're everything they ever wanted as in a friend, and it's going to cause us to be more divided, not through our ideas being different, but just through separation and just through not having the conversation with a communist or conversation about the very socialist things that Elon's talking about, because he's obviously not a socialist.
No.
Right? We can all agree he's not a socialist.
Yeah, no, he just acknowledges that there's going to be a need for something.
There's a reality at the end of it that makes me fight back against everything that I've thought my entire life, that socialism bad.
Yeah.
And I believe it is,
and that could,
for a lot of reasons, and it might be bad even because the work's going to get taken away. And what's our purpose?
Mm-hmm. And
what's the purpose?
You know, just to be the devil's advocate, I'm not even saying that that's like we're supposed to question everything. And why there has been plenty of examples as to why it is bad, but those are mostly in the sense of,
you're talking about socialism.
Okay.
Well, usually people end up starving or dead.
Yes,
that's kind of the bad part.
Exactly, because there's not been
it's kind of bad.
We can all agree that's bad, right?
Yes, because there's not been the ability to actually autonomize things. And I mean, if
that is the missing element.
If I'd like to take what Elon Musk says as at least for what he holds water to it. Maybe not the Joe Rogan podcast.
I think it's inevitable what he is saying.
It is inevitable.
It's inevitable that robots are going to take over more and more of labor. It's inevitable that we have to have this conversation, and we need to break through even the I'm a capitalist and I'm a socialist, so we can't talk.
I think that's all stupid. I mean,
dumb.
it's all divisive at the end of the day. As long as people are able to strive and be happy and, you know, afford a place to live, go buy a home, buy some land, be able to go hunt and fish, and raise your children in a society that you're not scared of them becoming a slave of.
Have children and want to have
more.
Yeah,
and have more than just one. Yeah. Maybe.
I'd
Let
like
the
to have
smart
5.
people reproduce.
I'd like to have 5. You wouldn't have liked that. You didn't want number 2.
You say let the smart people reproduce. Have you seen the movie Idiocracy? The smart people are usually the ones that realize that it's not good to have the more than one. Like, we want to be able to afford it. We want to be able to do this. We want to be able to that. And so we only have one, or maybe we have none, and then they get too old to be able to have kids or whatever it might be. It's usually, unfortunately, the people that don't see the necessity to have some type of balance that spit out 7 of them.
Right.
Not always. But that seventh one can get us $400 more a month.
But you just called out
Right.
you just called the lunacy. You just called out the lunacy of your argument. When you said smart people don't have kids or have few kids, and yet they're
educated.
They're thinning the gene pool of people that are smart by doing that. So it's actually an inverse ending to what they're trying to accomplish.
Well, the ending, it depends on, I guess, what your viewpoint is, because what I'm talking about is they're more like, well, I want to focus on my job right now, and and then we'll have a kid later, or we have the one kid, and it's, well, I don't know that we can afford it.
Well, I think that's because you're living in a false universe, and we have been living in a false universe. The affordability crisis, how everything's become more expensive, how we can't afford to do this, that, and the other. We can't afford a new house because of this, the energy, all these things. So they don't want you to have more kids, and we were told not to have more kids because it's bad for the environment, and it's more, causing more greenhouse gases, and it's not right. I mean, we were sold that,
but we're not having enough kids to repopulate.
We're not having enough kids to repopulate, which is a major problem.
Yeah.
And so everything what you're saying is accurate. That's the way we've been trained, and it's actually is very expensive to have kids.
Well, you talk about the gene pool. That's the whole point of Idiocracy. It's it's very stereotypy, and it's a joke, and people need to understand that it's a joke and stereotypy. But I mean, you get like these redneck, and no offense to anybody that lives in trailer park, but trailer park.
I'm a redneck.
A redneck trailer park.
I'm a hick.
Spitting out, their 7th or 8th kid, or their stepfather brother, or their uncle cousin, or whatever. Like, they're having, like, it's awful. Like, this movie, I'm talking about the movie, not reality. This movie, Idiocracy. And so over time,
they live in Eastern Kentucky.
Everybody becomes an idiot. Like, that's the whole point, is the world is stupid in whatever the year is, 2100 or whatever it might be, in this movie. And it's a hilarious movie. And some people are making a callback to it because they tried to act like Trump was being Terry Crews from Idiocracy with some of the stupid stuff that Terry Crews did. But I mean, they go so far as to think that an energy drink is supposed to be used to water the crops and the crops won't grow. So there's some other issue, not the fact that they just need to use water. Well, that's what we pee in. No, you need to, like they're just so dumb at this point because all of the genetics of intelligence have pretty much been weeded out. So anyway, the point being, I kind of just talking about that movie, but there is some sort of factual to that. Is normally the higher educated, more resourceful couples have less children because they are more realists on what they can afford, what kind of space they have to have those kids in, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that's and
why bring a kid into the world that's not guaranteed their success?
Well, that's the end of the world scenario. That's what we're talking about right now.
Well, and I'm a victim of this myself. We had one. Well, and mine case is a little different because my wife almost died at childbirth, so I didn't really want to try to have another for fear of her dying. But I mean, it's also expensive. And we also need more room, so we would need a bigger house if we had another kid.
Well, and that's not our fault. That's our
stuff.
government's fault, and that's why we're here talking about money printing and all that on a normal basis.
Debasement of the dollar.
Debasement of the dollar.
Did you see the tariff money that we're supposed to get? I feel like that's just going to be more debasement.
Oh, $2,000.
Yeah.
We won't get it, but maybe you will, hopefully. So
anyway, sorry, I went off on a rant about idiocracy.
No, so I think I want to finish this clip. We have a bunch of other clips, and I don't know where we are in time.
We've only been an hour 20. It's
Okay.
like 7:30.
Yeah. So I mean, we got other things, and I want Hunter to. Is this the one I sent you that you listened to the whole thing, or was there another thing that I sent you?
I think there was another thing.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I misspoke, but listen to the rest of this because he gets into some good stuff. what we talked about a little bit earlier, Travis, that, you know, if you call someone like Trump Hitler or label anybody Hitler because you disagree with them because they have an ideology different than you, basically you smash people to the other side of the spectrum. I mean, you're creating polar opposites and larger divisions between people, and it's not fair to label someone like, you know, our white, you don't have a white son, but like my kids get labeled, and I'm not here saying woe is me as woe is us, because they do have the potential to fight their way out of it, but it's changing society in a way that is definitely not beneficial. You know, and we've seen it on college campuses. We're seeing it in like kids just don't talk about things that are important, and so they get isolated more, which is dangerous. So, you have anything about that little clip? Or we can finish the end and go to the next one if you want.
I've got a word.
Don't have anything? Okay. I think
I miss Charlie.
I think the reason why I wanted that wasn't fully the end, but that got to the point where I wanted to get to. And so the Charlie movement now is distracted, divided, and I don't know what the truth is at the end of it. But there's so many different narratives and things going on, and it's not just the Candace Owens that are saying inflammatory things, right or wrong, or anybody else. There's a lot of information about that whole story that's not adding up, and we're not getting great information about it. And that's really, really troublesome, because it feeds into the conspiracy. Like, I've shot many things in my life, including animals to eat and to feed the family. And I can tell you there is no way, and I've looked at all the ballistic tests you ever see, a 30-06 bullet does not do a change of trajectory in a neck.
No.
Never has.
No.
Never will.
Nope.
You can't reproduce it, not even once.
I go straight through.
And so why is that here? Why is it here? And we can blame Candace Owens, but that's a distraction.
I think they broke up a movement. I think a movement was broken up.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And they're having us fighting over the ashes of what might remain of it, rather than, well, I'd like to say like TPUSA. I hope that it is what Charlie was trying to get it to, but it's concerning to me that a lot of people in that organization are just dismissive of these questions. Mm-hmm. Like, even the thing that I have, like, I am very pro TPUSA. Everything I think Charlie was trying to accomplish, we hoorah'd along the way right up until the time he died.
I think Charlie's TPUSA is diverging from current TPUSA, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know why. I don't think Erica necessarily had a hand in her husband's death.
I don't know. I don't know any of it.
It was such a weird thing. That whole situation was just weird. The timing of her mourning all the way to like I watched his entire funeral. That whole thing was kind of wild to an extent. I mean, yeah, I know it was kind of a celebration of life, sort of, but it was pretty wild. And then Erica already taken over, and then it I don't know. It's weird.
No matter what's going on right now, the one thing that I try to get the people around me, the people my age, especially with how divisive everything is and the state of the world and how it seems to be pointing, You know, there might not be a fix that we have, and we might not get the answers for these things until I'm at an age to where it wouldn't really matter to me anyways, if it ever really does. The real goal that I try to push, at least people my age, is to acknowledge where your pain is coming from and then use that to better yourself. Get away from it. Like I've been going to the gym. You can go hunting. You can go fishing. You know, some people get into cars.
Get outside and
some
get
people get into
sunlight. Yeah.
combat sports. You know, go on a walk.
Go to the beach.
Yeah, go talk to people. Go see how people are really interacting. Go see how people are actually talking to each other. Go see what really matters in life, and then come to the table with something online and be like, hey, I had this. I walked into something today, and it was a really cool experience. I want you guys to have something like this, and really come back to the core growth of where humans should be, and it is sharing information, sharing wealth, and growing what's important to us, not doing what the system is telling us to do, what is important. And at some point in time, it's going to come around to us. And I say us as in my generation, and I believe it'll be Marshall's generation, or Marshall's age group, more reasonably put, that will actually make the big difference of, no, this makes me happy. I don't really care what you say. And there's not going to be any control that any mass governing group can have over it, because they're not necessarily idolizing their phones over anything. At least with Marshall, you know, he's more interested in golf and
Fishing
and skincare than he would be anything else. You know,
he's dabbling in girls now.
Ooh,
Is that a metaphor for something?
Well, he's testing the water. It's so weird, Hunter, and I don't think it was nearly like this whenever you were just becoming interested in girls, and it took you a while to become interested in girls, longer than I thought it would.
that you knew of.
Marshall, but that you were honest with me about.
Yes.
How about that? But the moral of this is how our 14-year-old is meeting girls or are going out on a date, like a movie date with a girl for the first time that he never met before. Mm-hmm. He just meets them on Snapchat or through whatever without seeing them in the wild.
They don't go to school or anything together? Or?
I don't understand that. I'm like, why? And my wife has explained this to me. I kind of understand why dating someone else in another school makes sense. But I'm so far removed from that. I never even considered it.
Well, because we didn't have the technology to put us all together. Like, if I didn't go to school with them, I didn't know.
No, we had to talk about what we wanted to do 2 weeks in advance and ask our parents in a line.
We had to pass notes down the hallway.
Wait for the newspaper to come out to see when the movie was going to be at this time. And
I mean,
can your mom drive
align
us,
the two families to do it.
Yeah.
but that's always been a possibility for my age group. You know,
I know
a lot of the people I grew up with were dating people outside of the state, and they weren't really dating, but you know, talking, and you know, making friends,
creating a relationship in some way.
Yeah, in New York or Chicago or Florida or wherever you would like to think. You know, the word spread and people grew a lot faster. You know, there's a beautiful side to the internet and there's a really negative side to the internet. I feel like it's been perfected in a way of people can decide.
He's just got a weird noise.
Yeah,
he's troubleshooting right now. He's hearing a buzz, and I'm assuming maybe our listeners are hearing it too. Keep going, Hunter. It's not you. He's just trying to pinpoint it.
Was it my steel toes?
No, just keep talking. Don't stop. You can't pay attention to what he's doing. You just got to keep rolling.
I'm off track. I forgot what I was.
The dating has changed.
Yeah, I mean it's been different from the start. I mean, every story you hear about how 80s, 90s movies, I've never once had a dating scenario to where it's been like, oh, this feels like a fucking movie. It's just been very fast paced, very everything in your face. And you know, I'm not saying that's a good thing.
Well, it's not good. It's annoying to me as an older person, because you guys are so used to being able to push a button and get instant feedback or instant, why aren't we here yet? Like, Marshall will ask me, and he's much worse at this than you ever were because he's had it longer and younger. Not that much younger because you got phones about the same age. But, like, he'll ask me to do something, or he'll ask me a question. And if I don't answer him and give him the thing that he needs, like within a minute, he's like losing his mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, believe it or not, I do things that require me to be focused on things, and like I can't drop everything to help you look for your something that I don't even have any clue where it might be.
My daughter's the same way, and she's only 7, and she doesn't have her own phone. She does have an iPad, but she only gets that on the weekends. But hey, dad,
Yeah.
hey, dad, hey, dad, what, honey?
Instant dopamine.
Oh, well, fine if you don't want to know. No, what? Anyway, but yeah, instant gratification. Today's society is definitely an instant gratification kind of thing. Where, like you said, like I remember having a TV guide I had to read through, like in paper. I remember, like you said, having to look up to see, excuse me, what's being played at the cinema or whatever. Like I had to look through a newspaper or whatever. I couldn't just go online and be like, what's playing at the cinema today?
The big thing that I'm just really excited to say on that side of things, or really excited to see just the end stages of that, and that's going along with what you said, Travis. My generation is so used to the gratification they get from the task that they do so instantly that I believe that it's going to change the workforce in the ways that people are employing, and employers are actually going to have to start treating and paying people, because you can see that. I mean, we're still in the stages as to where employees aren't paying enough people and paying people enough,
especially with inflation and the debasement of the dollar. Yeah, nobody's getting paid what they're worth. I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, but I couldn't get paid more going somewhere else. So it's not necessarily my company's fault.
Well, I mean, yes, but ideally that wouldn't be an issue if the trickle down effects of the economic status of everything going.
Well, if they
on.
didn't know, I mean, well, let's just say it because you're not in tune with what we say talk about every week. But it's debasement, which is the devaluation of the dollar, which is money printing, which is why we're in all the wars we're in. It's why we do all the things we do, because our elected officials don't have to ask for permission, and we're gonna organize and bring enough money together. They just print the money. They throw it at what they want to throw it at, and they say, congratulations, you own X amount more dollars, which isn't even the worst part. The worst part is everything around us is going up and up and up and up in price,
right,
and it doesn't keep up with anything that we're doing.
Yes, but what I think I'm saying is that it's going to hit a time to where the stuff that we're told to value isn't going to hold any value, because it's not going to be attainable at any point in time anyways. So good luck telling a generation that they're supposed to value something that gives them no gratification,
value being able to buy a house when
like
they can't buy a house.
No house. I mean, you see online, you see whether the media plants or people posting like, oh, look how much money I have. Look at my Lamborghini. Look at my nice Porsche. You can do this too. You can do this too. You know, you having gone to a private school, I saw friends who got BMWs as their first car. And I was like, what the fuck did you do?
Like rated R again. No, I'm messing with you. Keep going.
You know,
he's still mad at his friends from high school.
He was born.
I'm not mad at them.
Into it. They were just born into it. They won the lottery of DNA.
Yes, it's not their fault. It's more the fault of the dumbass parent who gave their child a BMW or Mercedes for the first car,
which they probably crashed.
Hopefully,
but hopefully no one was injured.
No, I mean, of course not. But you know, if you're willing, you
had a pretty nice first car,
it's still in one piece.
We talked about this recently.
Well, it's been through a few bumps.
So I
have a heavy foot.
I think you and I talked about this recently. Like when I was 16, when I got my car, my mother and her father pulled money together, and they said, we will pay for half of whatever you can come at us with. So I had jobs and summer jobs, after school jobs and stuff, and I ended up saving up $1,500. So they said, we said we'd pay half, so we gave you $50. So I was able to. My budget was a $3,000 car.
And what year was that about?
So
1996?
This would have been like 2000.
Okay.
This would have been like 99 or 2000, somewhere in there, as when I turned 16.
I mean, $3,000. You could buy something.
Well, so it was the year 2000. So I bought a 7-year-old car. It was a 1993 Dodge Dynasty for $3,000. And give my grandfather credit. I don't know how he found this car. It never had a problem. Like that thing ran forever. It didn't. It got me from A to B. Granted, it looked like something. It looked like something a preacher would drive. It was a Chrysler, I think, is what it was. It was it was a Dodge. So it was a Dodge Dynasty. But I remember the emblem in the front was more the Chrysler emblem than. But I guess that was when they were together.
Yeah, they were merged for a minute.
So, but my point is that I would be happy to do that with my daughter. Is like, we'll pay for half, but we need you to work towards whatever you want to buy. And I think, definitely those parents who gave their kids, a Beamer or Mercedes or whatever. I love my aunt. My aunt's only 10 years older than me. She's more like a sister. Thankfully, she married a man who became very successful, hardworking. He started a construction company in a 2-car garage, building like bookshelves, and now he's the main contractor in our area, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. He is the American dream, and he worked hard for it, and that's great.
Of course.
But their kids' first cars were like Volvos and stuff like that. But they're safe too.
I call them vulvas.
Vulvas?
But anyway.
Bulbas, vulvas?
Vulva.
No. My, what a nice vulva you have.
Vulva.
No, but, and so those kids, it can be different because, yes, those kids have nice things. They've always had nice things. They've never known what it was like to be without money, but they're genuinely nice. They're genuinely respectful.
Yes,
and
there's a difference.
They didn't fall into that affluenza, like I was talking about earlier.
The entitlement trap.
They are not that at all. And they've all gone to college, different
I've seen
colleges.
both of each side.
Yeah.
You know,
There's examples on both sides for sure.
I'd like to say it would be more better than not, but you do tend to see people kind of fall back on what they know, and
most of that is affluenza. You're going to get most people in that situation. Those kids are amazing kids, my cousins, because most kids in that situation would be entitled pricks who didn't respect anybody, thought they were better than everybody, and that was the end of it. And that's thankfully that is not these 4 kids. She did have 4 kids, or she does have 4 kids. Thankfully, they are very respectful, and their parents, and I think their surrounding family, myself included, because one of them is my goddaughter. They are respectful. In if you get them a $30 gift that they could have bought with change, under the cushion of the couch, they're still grateful for it, and they're just good, genuinely good kids. But normally that doesn't happen. So I'm with you. I didn't have that camera on me at all through that entire conversation. But normally you don't get that. Normally you get what you were talking about. If a kid's 16 years old and he gets a BMW M3 for his first car,
it's gonna wrap it around a tree pole.
Wrap around a tree, and probably he's probably a prick. But not always. I don't want to, but
I've met some nice ones, and I haven't.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we got off on a weird tangent there.
But I mean, it's
what podcasts are, man.
I guess
it's somewhat relative, It's
mute my thing for a minute.
It's each an equal side. It's a lack of education on both sides, but it's I would say it's a lack of education in a sense of how people really live and how things actually work.
I think it's the home life too, where I talked about the parents and I talked about
at the core of it, it really is a lot of parenting. And as much as the older generation wants to sit here and be like, oh, all these kids are acting this way, it's like you raise the millennials to be lazy fucks. You raised Gen Z to be a bunch of fucking entitled.
I'm not going to be able to use a lot of these clips.
How many F-bombs
Hey, I want to be able to use these clips. I need to use some reels here. So you're saying a good thing. I want you to use something with other than F-bomb to say it.
We didn't bring sailors from the USS Lake Champlain in here. Okay?
Start again.
Hey,
say what you're saying.
I work blue collar. I don't have a college degree. I didn't finish high school.
That's okay.
Yes, you did.
Drop F-bombs.
Well, I technically did, yes.
You did finally get your GED?
Yeah, I did.
Good for you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And all, very earnestly, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He did it on his own.
Anyway, you were talking about the kids and their entitlement, but
I mean,
without dropping F-bombs.
It comes down to the stance of parents not wanting to parent, taking up the stance of, oh, this is hard, or I don't want to come off as
I'm too busy.
I'm too busy. I need to make the bills, or I've also seen a lot of parents have problems with even understanding the fact that kids are having a problem with something they've already mastered.
That the parent has mastered, you mean?
That the parent has already mastered.
Yeah,
the child is going through something that they have obviously not been through before. So they're asking the parent, like, hey, can you help me with this? And the parent goes, oh, why don't you know how to do this? Yeah. And I know so many very smart kids who
that might have been directed at me.
No. I mean, I have a lot of friends.
Dad.
I have a lot of friends who are very smart, and if they just got shown something, they pick it up really fast. But
I was talking about that with my daughter, how she's inquisitive, and I take the time. I make sure to take the time. I don't know. It's not that hard to take the time.
You can almost tell the kids now the almost adults and or adults now that whose parents actually took the time to sit there and ask them questions. They'll sit and listen to you talk and be like, see, while I agree with you on this, I don't necessarily agree with you on that. They're actually able to have that level of conversation and respect where you're coming from, but also have enough respect for themselves to stand. And, I'm not a parent, but I know what a parent should do from the basic perspective. I mean, as humans living, you look at the world and you're like, okay, well, this is wrong. I probably shouldn't do this. This is unhealthy. I probably shouldn't do this. Any choice outside of that is a deliberate choice to not do something and or ignore the data that has been given. And we can keep blaming my generation for being exactly what they've been molded into.
I don't think anybody's blaming your generation.
No,
really.
but it's easy to sit here and be like, oh, these young kids, da 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 da.
I don't think that's being said nearly as much as it did when I was a kid. They're like
not as much.
And I
but
think
it's
every
still,
generation says that. These damn kids nowadays.
there is,
like
but-
every
Yes,
generation.
There is, but like most people will see the world changing as it is. The things that you've been exposed to much faster,
And
rapidly.
I've said these damn kids, but what I'm talking about is like
off
I've
my
even
lawn.
He's
been
talking about your daughter, man.
That's what
yeah,
he
it's
said.
like, what are they on about? I don't understand.
Them 7-year-olds, man.
You know, the internet isn't necessarily catering to my age group anymore, and that's okay. You know, we're supposed to be able to grow up and move on with things, and I'm okay with that. But there needs to be a point. Lost.
You lost your train, huh?
Well, I mean,
you fell off the choo-choo.
I feel from my perspective, there's a lot of things that I look back. I know I didn't do nearly anything perfect with raising you or still raising Marshall.
No one will. We're humans.
No. The point is, I always felt like I was trying to do the right thing at the right time, and that doesn't mean I was right. It doesn't mean I did it right, but
But the action of showing that you cared about the struggle means a lot more to the child in development.
well, you need to struggle. That's the
Yes.
thing. That's the thing that's hard as a parent, because you want to swoop in and solve things and fix things.
Yes.
Which is what men do typically.
Right.
And why our wives hate us when they come to us with a problem and we just go fix it. They're like, no, we don't want you to fix it. You just listen. Just
Yeah.
listen. You know. So, but we're fixers generally as a species, and you know. There were several instances of this today when we were sitting at lunch with our new friend Dennis, who hopefully will be on the podcast here before too long, that literally was one of the proudest moments I've ever had of you, in that you heard and were listening to the things that he was saying, and you not only did you bring a couple ideas to the table that I hadn't thought about, that I feel like I should have thought about, but it made me realize that you had to go through basically everything that you went through for you to come to the conclusion that you came to. And that at the end of the story, that's what I hope you can take. You know, I'm not saying forget the negative things or the bad things that ever happened to you in your life, but build on the good things and try to push past the things that maybe you don't think were good, but might teach you the lesson that you need
Right.
in the future.
Right.
And something to pass down to your child.
Choose the hard road sometimes to make sure the easy road is able to be walked by the people who can't necessarily choose a hard road at every point.
I think easy is an illusion.
Yeah, nothing's supposed to be easy, and I wasn't meaning it as that, but people deserve a break sometimes, man. And I don't think that's enough. People give themselves enough of the credit to be, especially as men, we're not necessarily told that we can be comfortable with our own feelings. Like, hey, this hurts and I don't feel good about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that I can't do anything about it. It means it hurts and I don't feel good about it. But that should be all the more reason to go do something about it and make change, and not necessarily want to feel like that again, because you shouldn't want to feel like that again. But it's that feeling that actually stimulates growth and actually stimulates cavemen wouldn't have gone out and built fire or, increased the populace or walked the earth and found out new things. We wouldn't have grown into the people that we are without being an inquisitive race and trying to better ourselves and trying to
Make it a little less painful tomorrow.
Make it a little less painful. And the only way you can do that is battling your own demons and coming to yourself at the end of the day and being like, you know what, not everything's okay. I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this. But I still have to wake up tomorrow. Suicide rates in young men are shooting up, skyrocketing. And, I can't necessarily say I don't understand why. As a young man, you watch the world go around you, and you're supposed to fall in line while it's crumbling. And you're supposed to just sit here and be like, oh, Good job, guys. Like, roll credits.
Well,
You haven't done anything.
Well, some people see it as crumbling, and I believe in a lot of ways we are. But
It should.
The other,
I believe it should.
The other piece of it is it's not just crumbling; it's evolving so rapidly that maybe crumbling isn't the right word for it. It's
shattering.
We're shattering the chains of everything basically that we've been told about. Well, many of the things that we've been told have, especially since COVID, have just been coming to the surface as being half truths or not truths at all. And that's the most concerning thing to me. It's not the struggle. I mean, there's always been people that have committed suicide, but yes, the rates are much higher than they are. I don't think that's because life is harder necessarily. I mean, you got to get up and do these things that are so challenging. Yeah,
I think it's social media.
It's social.
Yes, from a physical standpoint, no, but from a mental standpoint, I believe it's harder than it ever has been to grow up. And
well, I think a lot of it is this. Honestly, this is this is like you.
I don't hear much about Papa being depressed and be like, oh.
Well, so can I
on his phone
real quickly? So I don't think much has changed really, like you said, the day to day. I think more of it is people look at social media as if that's reality, and it's not.
It is reality for a lot of people, though.
Well, but it's not. I don't take I don't take a picture of my kid crying, throwing a fit because she didn't get her way, and then throw that on Facebook. That's not what I do. Right. That's not what anybody does. I take the happy picture of all of us together at a Holiday World or
a 100 Guys Who Care event last night.
Yeah, well, those guys are ugly. I can't say. No, I'm kidding.
I'm one of those guys, you jackass.
I know. I was in the picture too, you jackass. But I think more of it is just people try to. What would be the word? They try to look at how these other people look on Facebook, or they try to compare themselves to these lives, and they think that their life isn't worth it, or they think that they're not doing the job that all these other people are doing, where it's all fake.
Yes.
They don't put the bad stuff on there. They don't put the crying kid, the sick kid, the bills that are past due, the debt up to your eyeballs. Like, they don't put all that on social media.
They don't put the struggle out there.
No, exactly. The
narcissists do, but that's a different.
They're just wanting somebody to say, "Oh, woe is you."
Yeah.
But that is the bane of social media. I think social media started out where it could have been where it can be a good thing, where you can,
if you use it right, it still can be
where a distant relative can see what's going on, or where
people may find an awesome podcast like United Divided through social media.
They might. I don't know how, but they might.
It might help them solve some problems in the future.
But no, so there was some good there, I think, at the beginning, but now it's to the point where everybody just compares their lives to the other lives on social media. And it's not a fair comparison. It's not a reality.
Yes.
I think a lot of that is what's causing some of the mental anguish of the world, and what's causing the higher suicide rates, like you said. I think a lot of it is everybody's doing as good as anybody did before, but you have all of that in front of you, making it look like everybody else is happier than you are, and they're not.
Well, so I mean,
they are not.
I said I did the United Divided plug there as a
shameless plug of United Divided.
But what I will say is the mission, the goal is sitting down with you, Travis, and now my almost 21-year-old son, is to have physical person-to-person communication and conversations about things that are sometimes troubling us, questions that we have about the world and how to proceed forward. Like, these are the types of things that are going to solve staying away from the phone. Like, the phone is just basically going to give you the next dopamine hit, and as soon as that gets, you're tired of that one, you're going to go to the next one. It's going to hit you. So the moral of this is less of the phone, less of the computer, more conversations.
Being present.
Everyone could have their own podcast, and I'm not saying that because a lot of them would be really stupid, and a lot of people may think this one's stupid. I'm not pretending. I'm not pretending. I'm not living in that world myself. But the reality of it is, it's not even forcing. I want to have conversations. I want to have stimulating conversations. I want people to learn from you. You can take one thing away from this podcast and say, or you might not even know what it is or even think about it when you leave, but something will come to you and like, this is a conversation that needs to be had. And who's going to do it? Are you going to sit around and wait for somebody to do it? Or can you just go say, I want to have a conversation with somebody about this. Let's go find somebody that's much smarter than me and talk about it and shoot the shit over.
Come talk to me.
And
No,
over
I'm
3 hours.
kidding.
Whatever it is. But I mean, I think the answer to isolation, division, dopamine hits from whatever is sitting in a room and having conversations and talking about uncomfortable things and working things out.
I agree.
Let's get. I got one more clip series. We're probably getting pretty close to.
We're at about 2 hours.
What time do you? What's your goal to be home to put your child to bed?
Whenever we can get there, it's fine.
Yeah, I know, but
I usually get her down about 9. So
okay. So there's a 9-minute 30 clip, and I'm going to break it into 2. This is the last clip. This is a. So we're talking about the uncomfortable fact. The name of this clip is "Uncomfortable Facts of Men in Crisis." So part of the purpose of this conversation with my son Hunter and with you, Travis, is to point out some of the things that are going on in the world. I love women. I believe women are they're not.
I love women too.
I love women.
Travis should have the cameras on them two. They were going like this.
Okay, wait, I can do that. Hang on, I can do that.
We
love women. We do like the ladies.
We like the ladies.
I like the women.
The moral of the story is like what I'm trying to get to in this particular episode is I want my sons to be proud to be male again. I don't want them looking at skin. They were not raised to understand skin color. Mm-hmm. They weren't we didn't allow anyone that we knew to use derogatory, racist language around them. And trust me when I tell you, everybody has an old dirty uncle that says very inappropriate things.
Hunter, do you have an old dirty uncle?
I got a couple.
Yeah.
Got a couple.
But the point of that is we were trying to take that mentality, not the fact that it doesn't exist out there, but just I didn't want it to be a base log for them to learn. So race wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. Sex always is a thing because once you
is relative.
If you're a male and a female, the differences become apparent when you start growing hair in places.
Sex
right?
has always been relative, but it's not. It was never a thing of.
One's not superior to the other or anything like that, right?
Yes.
Well, it's a social construct, and it's only something that you learn by being out in the wild, in school, in social media. You learn these things and these divisions through people other than your mother and I.
Correct.
Like so. Part of this podcast, part of what we're trying to do is to break down those barriers and unite people around the understanding that it's a social construct. These things are created in society, like the Nick Fuenteses of the world, to get clicks, to get attention. Maybe Nick Fuentes has a true positive message in the end, and he's going to unite people in the end, and we hope that's true. Maybe he's just going to divide people further, and that's not a good thing. I'm not the person to judge that. I'm not going to call for him to be banned or deplatformed.
No.
I want him to be heard by everybody and to be asked the hardest questions on the planet and to have to let those ideas survive in daylight. I mean, that's what I feel needs to be done. So one last clip from the Ruben Report. It's a pretty long clip, but I feel there's several different pieces in here that will probably run over a couple of the things that we've already talked about. But the, what did I call it? The ASocial, asexual men crisis that we're having. I feel we are in a loop of time. Travis hit on it with, in your generation, not as much my generation. Yeah, we were more of you should have two or three kids and that's it. And then as things got more expensive, and us creating gas from our farts or whatever, which was destroying the world.
The cows.
You've been told having one kid is a little bit selfish, but go ahead and do it. I mean, that's kind of where we, and by the way, it's the only thing you can afford. So good luck with that. Right. And college is $150,000 by the time she gets into college, so it's like, it's going to get more and more.
Triple that.
But anyway, what I'm trying to get to here is I think this last clip, I had it queued up. I think it's a good one. Let's listen to it. I'll stop it every couple minutes maybe. And we can all give our insights if we have some. not just the dopamine from the screens, but the food. Alex Jones, the biggest conspiratorial person on the earth, said, frogs.
Turn the fuck. Oh
no! Don't
turn the frogs gay.
Turning the frogs gay. So the stuff in the water basically is turning the frogs gay, and people laughed and chuckled or just called him a downright conspiracy theorist. But comes to find out, there's some truth to it. So there's all these different things that are making young males asexual, asocial, addicted to phones, addicted to dopamine's hits, afraid, mentally not where they need to be. All these different things, and basically it's creating the weak men that create a weak society. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest fear for your future, the generation of you and Marshall is, and it's the reason why I want you to struggle. And even though it pains me, and every time you're struggling, I want to swoop in and whatever. You have to feel that pain, and I'm not saying it's fair necessarily all the time, because life's not fair.
Right.
By now, you know that.
Yeah.
Life isn't fair, and it can't be fair, because if everything's fair every day, then you're weak.
Life isn't fun.
Life isn't fair, and it's not always fun. So anyway, I feel like we've created soft cushions around, and we've demoralized young boys and men to think that their feelings are wrong. And part of the other clips that we listen to, it's not our women teachers' fault. They just don't understand men. But then, we're talking about the curriculum and how they're jamming kids into a LED lit room for 7 or 8 hours a day, and they're not outside doing things that are hard and physical and whatever. And that works better for women than it does for men. Men need different things than women need, and
women need different things than men need.
Yeah, we need to be the physical. We need to be the physical protectors. We need to be the strong ones. We need to be the ones that someone steps to.
Both excel at different things.
It
is what it is. It's biology.
It's what it is, and we don't treat it like that. It's become a very matriarchal education system, and that's just a part of it. So, do you have anything about this last couple minutes? I'm going to get right back into it.
No.
Okay, let's get into it. On a lot of hot buttons. You found Jordan Peterson all on your own as a young man. I mean, years ago. I think you were probably listening to him before I started listening to him in any real capacity, which means he kind of found you probably like Nick Fuentes found a certain group.
Yep.
Obviously, Peterson is not Nick Fuentes.
No.
The
very big difference. Very big difference. And like I said, the divisiveness that Fuentes brings, and then Jordan Peterson being like, I feel for you. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be a change in the system, and everybody deserves a fair shot.
It's tough out there, man.
Yeah,
I mean, even say
just
something like
being
that.
told like it makes me so sad seeing you guys struggle and not being heard, but still being the backbone of the society that's hates you, and that's sometimes all that really it takes is just being told like, hey, your struggles are valid and you're fighting for the right things, and we see that as a direct issue, and we're doing the best that we can to change the society, but it's going to take time. Just build yourself to be as strong as you possibly can in this time period. And I'm
Acknowledging that is huge.
the acknowledgement of that is the biggest thing I believe that would be the easiest to do for my generation is acknowledging, hey, you are going through a hard ass time. Like I run my own business. I would like to say it's doing decently well. I just had to pick up a second job, and I'm going to pick up a third because shit's tight, man. I mean,
and you gotta afford living out on your own, and
Yeah.
that's not a small amount of money.
no, and I mean, with how everything else has been, like I couldn't afford to go buy a home for myself, let alone a wife and kids. And I have one friend who has been able to do that, and not else unless they're buying it with a group of 6 or 7 guys. Or
Well, and the reality is you're 20, so most of your friends are not quite graduated college yet.
yeah,
So,
and
I mean, you're not. They're not really out in the workforce. But
right, but even
90% of them won't be able to go out and get their first job and
Yeah.
afford to live.
Yeah.
Some cushy.
guess what they're doing after college? Moving right back into their parents' house because they have no way to fund it. Anything, TikTok's not going to fund anything. Your Instagram bio and your Instagram account's not going to fund anything. You're not able to sell anything off that. I mean, you can, but most people aren't smart enough to, or at least smart enough to utilize a resource that, like, hey, I can either talk shit on my Instagram account or I can use it for a beneficial reason, like put a name to a company and use
Brand.
that. Yeah.
Brand yourself in some way to.
Yeah. And I mean,
So that I don't know how long that whole platform is going to last that way.
right. It's relative.
Yeah, yeah.
It's relative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's all relative to the area. I mean it's just all relative, and like I said, just the acknowledgement of you guys are working harder, and it's nothing that you could have done that would have changed anything. Like I've seen,
It's not your fault.
no, yeah,
Yeah. That takes me to the Goodwill Hunting line, wasn't it? Robin Williams, whenever he's sitting there at the end.
Yeah,
of
it's
it,
not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not. Your
Oh yeah, over and over.
It's not your fault.
And then Will starts.
What are you
crying,
doing,
yeah.
man? It's not.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. But that's a great exercise of watching how the brain, like he built himself up to be this strong character because he was him against the world, and it's hard. I mean, he's emotionally distraught because of it. And
all
it's very
crumbles.
weak, very weak
It's all going to
inside.
crumble at some point in time, and some people do it alone to save face, and some people are able to do it out in public and be like, "Hey, man, I'm struggling. I'm hurt right now," and like I said earlier, the society we were raised in wasn't necessarily built to coddle around those feelings of like, "Hey, I'm fucked up." We were always told to keep it in, keep it tight, don't cry, whatever. And I'm not saying you've raised me that way, but
Because I can cry at a good movie
Right.
with the best of them.
right, but
A Pretty Woman gets me every time.
I'm a big softie. There's movies that I watch that I will cry at the same moment in time every time. It doesn't
American
matter. I watch
Sniper is always going to be one of those.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
that's more patriotic cry than anything.
Yeah.
But
Those would get you big weepy cry. The ugly cry or whatever.
yeah, the full lip movement. But
Well, let's listen another couple minutes and then you can chew on your thoughts because this is the one you watched, wasn't it? You watched this whole one, and so I know you've had time to chew on this. was the natural break to the next clip.
Yeah, you can probably fast forward through that ad, but you know, I kind of feel that to an extent. But when I was younger, I played the law of averages. I don't know about you, Hunter, but I just asked everybody out.
Well, I mean,
Somebody's going to say yes. Damn it!
I got to go through 10 to get one, maybe.
I'm a little reserved. I wouldn't say I just go asking everybody every which way.
My wife says you must have been like a Romeo in school or something. But
Oh, Lord, no.
no, not you, me.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't know you.
She doesn't know you, man.
She knows me. But no, I mean, I get as time progress, the internet, you know, online dating. I think that all kind of, although to be fair, I reconnected with my wife eventually on Match.com. But you know, going through school and stuff, I don't know. You got to kind of get that thicker skin. You got to go through a bunch of no's to get to the yes. I think it builds some character in you. You know,
I got my first email address because his mom lived on the West Coast, and the only way I could communicate with her easily was via email.
You know,
That's the difference. We're not that difference in age.
Yeah,
but that's how things has changed.
I mean, I think
there
I
was
got
no Match.com.
My first email address was just for like schoolwork and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I got it back in like the mid '90s.
Where were you going?
What do you want,
where
Hunter?
I was at. I lost it.
You lost it.
You lost it. It flew away.
There's only 3 more minutes of this, and then we're going to wrap it up. I think everybody's losing their steam, and
Get past the ad.
got to put the I had it clipped. I
okay.
knew exactly where it was.
All right, cool.
Here we go. Yeah. So there was a very pointed reason why I sent that to you, Hunter, and it's I feel you're in tune with more of your friends, and you're able to explain what that means to me in private. And that means a lot. I mean, it means you're paying attention. It means you got your thumb on the pulse. And I'm not really prompting you to do anything really with that, except for keep leaning into what you feel, what you see. You've always, since you're the youngest of kids, you probably don't even realize this, you were always a protector. You were always someone that if something happened, you were always the one that was trying to not necessarily take the blame, but to protect and shield your friends from the fallout. You have the biggest heart of any kid your age that, and you've always had that. So I'm just trying to, I guess, inspire you, and I think you are on your own doing that, to lean into that and to use your skills that you're going to develop over time in whatever capacity you can. And I know you are. But I'm just going to put this in the record because I want you to keep pushing forward. Travis, on that last clip, do you have anything? I mean, I know you've got a young girl, but girls are a part of this whole thing too, and they have obviously not been nearly as targeted as young boys have, or even men our age have. And that's not dumping on them at all, but like. Besides just having conversations like this, is there anything else that we can do? Is just keep trying to connect with people and do. I don't know.
I'm honestly probably not the best at this because a little backstory with me, just real quick, is my parents got divorced when I was 4 or 5. I took the brunt of that, thinking I was the problem. I ended up having to go see a therapist for having ulcers at like the age of 6, thinking that I was the reason for the divorce and all that stuff. But unfortunately, my dad and I have a great relationship now. But I was a kid when I was a kid. My dad was a kid, so my mother was 17 when I was born. My father was 19. They were kids trying to raise a kid, and so they weren't necessarily the best parents. I think my mother was probably a little better, but ultimately my grandparents were pretty much my parents, and that's why COVID affected me so much when I lost a couple of my grandparents during that time.
You weren't able to visit them, which was very painful.
Right, super, especially at the end. Like I couldn't hold my grandmother's hand until she was already unconscious and working her way through crossing over.
The lesson from that is you probably are on the podcast now because of that pain.
Oh, my eyes open from that pain for a lot of things. But what I'm trying to get at, though, is that due to the fact that, they were just kids trying to raise a kid, I didn't necessarily have the I don't know. My parents are great. Don't get me wrong. But I use that as a springboard of how I raise my kid. I want to make sure that my kid, that I'm at all of the ball games if there are ball games, where my father wasn't, unfortunately, because he had other things going on. Honestly, he would laugh at this with me saying it now. He was probably chasing tail because that's just, whatever. It is what it is. We're like best friends now. But I utilized some of that pain when I was a kid of, I sat on the front porch waiting for my dad to pick me up for hours, and eventually he would, or maybe he wouldn't, whatever it might be. But I've been sitting on my front porch swing waiting for him to come down the road to pick me up. Anyway,
like a liar, it's a liar movie, like Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
wasn't that when he had the kid where the kid was waiting for him and he was the busy
probably.
attorney.
He was busy, the busy attorney.
Had to call and cancel all the time.
Yeah. So it was some of that, but I use that to raise, I think, my kid, and because of that, I might be not the best to talk about this because I am kind of a helicopter parent. Like I'm kind of like I do fix all the problems, and I don't really let her go through the pain if I can help it right now. And maybe when she gets a little older, I'll train myself to try to let her go through some of that pain.
Well, if you could have had to, which I know you can't, so it's not your own fault. Obviously not, but. The benefit of having 2 is a lot of the helicoptering we did with Hunter early on. Marshall was just like, he would do something that Hunter had already did and Hunter survived, and we'd be like, you'll be okay. Or
rub some dirt on it.
He fell down, and we were used to rush over to Hunter and like pick him up and wipe his knees off. We'd all just hit like. Well, the first few times he did it, because he hit his head a lot as a kid.
That explains
he was a
lot.
headbanger.
He's a headbanger. He was a headbanger, but he would fall, and he was top heavy. He was a very small-legged, small kid with a big head, and you just poof. I mean, he's very agile now. He doesn't fall over at all, but like he fell over all the time. But we had to get to the point where we were like, we can run over and try to save him, but it's best for him to just cry it out a little bit and just like he needs to just get up and shake it off and move on, which I think is hopefully you get to
I guess my helicoptering is more like social situations or we do the things to try to make her happy in a social sense, like take her to do the things or go to the birthday parties or whatever. Well, unfortunately, I didn't have that as a kid. So that's where I'm saying, like, I think we push, I guess we learn. That's where that weak makes strong kind of deal. I think, once again, I want to reiterate, because my dad doesn't listen to these, so it won't be a big deal. But I want to reiterate that my dad and I are really good friends now.
I'm going to create a clip, but then I'm going to find a way to get
it to my dad.
I'm going to land it in his lap.
And make sure at least you put in there that we're like the best of friends now. But
I'm going to mute that out.
But I mean, he never really grew up.
I'm going to do an AI hook and say,
so the funny
Travis
thing is,
hates his dad.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't hate his dad at all. But his dad never really grew up. My dad has probably about $400K in Lego. At his home.
Yeah, I think
he added a 30 by 30 addition to his home for his Lego room. Okay.
Cool.
So he never really surpassed.
We talked about this before, and I thought you'd.
I've got pictures to prove it. I'll show you like a panel of his Lego room. He buys one of at least everything, sometimes 2 or 3 if he gets good deals on them. Like everything ever created by Lego. Okay. Like he has more than a Lego. I go to the Lego store and I'm like, there's nothing here I can really buy. Dad has it all. There's nothing I can really buy here.
When you sell the Star Wars, let me know.
I'm not selling anything, man. The thing is, okay,
you won't be able to afford it by the time you
say when he sells the Star Wars stuff, you'll buy it. But the thing is that when he passes away, I've probably got 15 to 20 years before I'm gone, because he's so young.
That's true. That's true.
I'm 41. He's going to turn 61 in December.
True.
So, I mean, I've got a leg in the grave whenever he goes.
If you end up selling a couple of the extra Star Wars pieces, just let me know.
I'll clip that to send that direct to Dad.
To my dad?
Yeah.
Or dad? No, he knows. So he was. We're totally getting off on a weird tangent. But the point that I was saying was that, you brought up raising a son versus me raising my daughter. I think it's a totally different thing. Emotionally, I'm a different person, I think, than if I had a son versus a daughter. I think, feel things a little more emotional. And I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily, but, I have to acknowledge, or at least understand, the emotions of a girl, of a female versus the emotions of a man at Grace's age would a boy at Grace's age would want to wrestle with me, and I'd bounce his head off the side table or something. That's a boy. A girl, I have to give her a hug. She's crying. She's emotional about some things, and that's fine. I don't mean women are emotional versus men not being emotional, but just it's a totally different thing.
You shouldn't mean that, because that's not true.
Exactly, I know. And so it is a different thing for me. But I think I am kind of the overprotective dad a little bit. Like when she starts dating, her dates are going to wonder why I clean my gun so often. They are going to see the fact that I have 12 gauges, 20 gauges, 16 gauges. I've got 223. I've got 5.56. I've got some 9 mil. I've got some 45. I've got some 25, 22. They know they're going to see.
And I can get to them really quick.
And yes, I understand how to arrange them in a way that I need to.
Even right now, there's several in a hand's reach.
Yeah, I've got my 9. You've got your. What's that? A 9? I don't. Isn't there? So your 9, my 9. I see a shotgun behind you.
Turkey loads.
There's an AR behind me. I mean, we're good to go.
Probably 1 or 2 that you can't see.
In my house, I've got 1 in 4 different rooms just in case I need to get to them. Yeah. Anyway. Jesus, I don't even know where I was going with all this.
So just the difference in raising the boys and girls, and
in raising the boys and the girls, and I think at some point I'm probably going to have that conversation with her where I'm going to have to explain to her how fearful boys can be for rejection, and that's absolutely a true thing, and I hope that I can help her understand that boys can act a weird way to girls when they like them. And they may not ever come up to, especially in today's society, kind of like he was talking about, where
I'm pretty sure Hunter's trying to get a date right now.
No, there's many.
I'm dealing with.
I'm totally kidding.
But there's going to be many, and I guess that percentage is probably just going to grow.
I got to wrap this up soon.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I'll try to be quick. I'm sorry, man. But there's I think that percentage is just going to get higher and higher and higher of boys who want to utilize online or texting type situations versus being face to face. Nobody wants to be rejected face to face. Nobody wants to be. That's just nobody. Male, female, whatever, adult, child. Nobody wants rejection.
I think we should get all of our kids, into some kind of sales program where they're going to get rejected early and often.
Oh, yeah.
I think
so many no's.
You just got to know the no's are coming, and that's part of the thing that I think the current generations aren't getting.
So
because there's not no's to anything really.
Yeah, so I think a lot of, we, to summarize, boys and girls have different situations that they deal with. Boys and girls do grow up differently.
Oh, yeah.
No, anybody that tries to argue that boys and girls are the same, they're not.
No.
Not that one's better than the other by any means, but there are very different things that go on with a female growing up versus a male growing up. Sure. And I think to educate on both sides of that, for boys to be respectful, to not catcall, to not, some boys will like snap bras and stuff in junior high. I remember a lot of boys doing that. Like, don't do that shit. Like, be respectful.
I think most like Hunter's generation and Marshall's generation are much better than
that. And that may be absolutely true.
I think all of that, and whether that's political correctness and some of that's just been shamed out of them, that definitely didn't happen in Hunter's realm.
So
at least we never got called to school.
So all I'm getting at is that they all grow up a little differently, and I hope that parents can have that conversation to try to put a little bit of the opposite sex and their mind frame and things to, like, I'll try to explain to my daughter boys a little bit. If she ever comes home with a girlfriend, I'll be ecstatic. No, I'm kidding. But I just try to explain both sides to everybody. I think boys should learn respect and consent and those kind of things. I think girls are the same way, but I think they need to also understand that boys aren't just the strong. They're not going to be the strong statue of masculinity necessarily. All of them are afraid of rejection, and so to understand that a little bit, I think both sides.
I think everybody's afraid of rejection.
That was my point.
That's one of the things that we all have in common,
especially face-to-face rejection.
I think
that's why technology is being utilized so much. Yeah. Where he was talking about, I think nobody wants face-to-face rejection.
Yeah, because Hunter, we are wrapping up, and what I'll say is, like, our kids.
Hunter's got a booty call, so
no, he's not. He's dealing with some work stuff. I bet.
I have a couple phone calls I gotta make.
Yeah. So what we're at the end of the day, what I think what we're getting at is, our kids are dealing with a lot of different stuff, and Hunter's trying to make some money over here, so we're going to deal with that. But
hustling.
That's right. I love it. So Hunter, can you give that up for just a second? I want to say Yeah. Well, I'm literally closing this out right now. Thank you for coming in today. Thank you for sitting down and having the conversation. It's stuff like this that's needed all the way around. Travis, as always, thank you. And
absolutely love being here.
And if you want to buy some t-shirts from Hunter, it's galactic-boots.com. And supporting the podcast is super helpful. Thanks to all the people that are doing that regularly. I had a very nice check handed to me last night at our 100 Guys Who Care event here in Evansville. Greatly appreciated. You're helping.
Check out 100 Guys. That's a big deal.
100 Guys Who Care is fantastic. Thanks to Knob Hill in Newburgh. The bourbon that we drank tonight was from Knob Hill, Newburgh.
Ooh, and the pizza we had was from
DiMaggio's down on First Avenue.
That was actually really good pizza.
Really, really good pizza. I highly recommend it. First time we've ever had it, and highly delicious. Thanks again, Hunter. Thanks, Travis.
Have a good night, everybody.
Love you all. See you soon.
See you, everybody. Have a good night.